I really think it's unfair what they're doing to Chris Barber, a working man. And this happened a while back, and you think they give us some peace, but they continue with their show trial and their persecution. It's not only Chris Barber and Tamara Lynch who they're persecuting all of us, because people are afraid that we're all going to lose our rights, that we're all losing our freedoms. And when we see a show trial like that, it does not give us a lot of confidence in any sort of justice.
This isn't Canada anymore. I don't know where we are, but it's not Canada, not the Canada that I know.
Alex Alavoie for Rebel News, and we have just wrapped up the 3-day hearing on the application brought by the Justice Center for Constitutional Freedom to halt proceedings in Chris Barber's case. Chris Barber was arrested on February 17 and following a lengthy trial process was found guilty of mischief and counseling others to disobey a court order. You can find my report from day 2 at rebelnews.com. Today, the focus was on presenting evidence that Mr. Barber acted in good faith and made efforts to cooperate with police. The court reviewed numerous communications between Barber and law enforcement, particularly with the police liaison officer Beige, who worked closely with him during the protests. To better understand the legal strategy and overall proceedings, I spoke with Chris Barber's lawyer, Diane Magas, for a full recap of the event. It's just to explain to the people who are not really sure what was the application and what you wanted to reach as a goal with that application.
Yes, so the application is for a stay of proceeding. So a stay of proceeding, it's like a stop in the proceeding. It stops all proceedings and without a conviction. So there was a finding of guilt, but an application for a stay would render that guilt null, if I can put it in layman's terms, based on the fact that we're suggesting that the police gave advice not in the legal sense of a lawyer, but advice in the sense of being officials, state members, that provided advice to Mr. Barber where to park his truck, how to protest and to continue to protest. And the city officials also with respect to the mayor's office and his involvement in removing vehicles and placing them where the mayor's office wanted them, and then with the order of Justice McLean, who in his injunction order had a paragraph that included that the defendants, including Mr. Barber and Ms. Leach, remain at liberty to protest peacefully, lawfully. And so the argument is that if it's state official that provide that advice to the accused, then they should not be convicted and face sentence. And as opposed to that, there should be a stay, although there was a finding of guilt.
I was hearing you arguing about the fact that he should not be charged criminally for counseling for a civil court order.
So what Justice McLean said in the transcript that we have from the February 7th is that he was at the asking of Mr. Barber's lawyer and Ms. Leach's lawyer on that motion, Mr. Keith Wilson, was asking the judge to confirm that a breach of the order would not be a criminal matter but a civil matter. Then we're saying that based on that, then he should not be prosecuted on a criminal charge for a matter that the judge said was a civil matter. So that's part of the application before the court.
Morning. How are you?
We're doing great. How are you?
I'm doing great. Feeling optimistic today?
Yes, slept really good last night. Thanks for being here.
Good morning. How are you guys?
Morning.
Morning.
How are you today?
I'm great. How are you doing?
I'm good. Do you feel great for today?
Yes. Yeah. Hopefully we get through everything quickly and head home tomorrow.
Why it was important for you to be here today for Chris?
Just to show our support, stand behind him. He's a Canadian hero, big time for both my wife and I. So we had to be here to show our support. That's all there was to it. So
Well, we drove up from Niagara this morning, right? So we spoke with Chris and Tamara yesterday. So we said, yeah, well, we'll come up and come see you guys. We've been waiting to see them for a little while. The last time they were out was when we did Jay's fundraiser, like for Jay Vandewire.
I've been part of it the whole entire time. We did everything in our power to stay legal and follow the law, and officers, whatever officers decide would coach us and tell us that this is not right. We'd fix it, we'd adjust, and we'd go another way, just try to make sure they stay legal and everything else. And I also find it fitting that I'm trying to figure out why would the sentencing judge kind of find it like a conflict of interest that a sentencing judge would be on the stay of proceedings on their own judgment. I find that kind of peculiar. I figured it would be a different judge doing the proceedings on the stay of proceedings, because it seems a little conflict of interest.
Your impression of today's hearing?
Well, I'm grateful to be here, and I'm grateful to support Tamara Litch and Chris Barber in their plight. I really think it's unfair what they're doing to Chris Barber, a working man, and this happened a while back, and you think they give us some peace, but they continue with their show trial and their persecution. It's not only Chris Barber and Tamara Lynch who they're persecuting all of us, because people are afraid that we're all going to lose our rights, that we're all losing our freedoms. And when we see a show trial like that, it does not give us a lot of confidence in any sort of justice. People are wondering if we have any representation in this country regarding justice, or is it just a sham? Are they just pretending to offer us justice when in effect they're denying us all our civil liberties? I think this is going to be a special case in history, and this is going to be a case that they reference. And any other violation of civil rights and any sort of what you would consider protest will be measured on this case. And I'm fearful, and many other people are fearful of what's going to happen in the future, especially the Christian community.
Can you believe of what he's facing right now as charged for just leading a peaceful protest?
No, I can't. This is total corruption by our governments. There's no question. It's just out. This isn't Canada anymore. I don't know where we are, but it's not Canada. Not the Canada that I know. So.
How do you feel to see those who led a peaceful protest still, after 3 years and a half, being prosecuted?
Well, I think these judges already have preconceived notions. So no matter what these lawyers present, it's not going to change anything. So, I mean, it'll be interesting to see. It was good with Harold, who's from our area, where he ended up in the Superior Court and was able to beat all his charges. I mean, it'll be interesting to see if that sets any precedents for anything else. But everybody else had their trials go early, and Harold got in probably about a year and a half later. So.
The whole entire time, everything. Like, we talked to officers, PLTs like Isabel and the rest of the gang, and Kevin and Luke and all the PLT teams, and Emily from the PPS and everything else. When we come up, they say, "Oh, they have a problem with this." So we go, we'll go out and try to convince people. You can't convince everybody, but you try to convince people to try to change. This is not right. We're telling you that we got to open up a lane and this and that, whatever it needed to be, and everything else to stay legal. And we did everything in our power from the start to the end. And it seems like right now it seems political. It seems very, very, very political.
So, in your own opinion, how did you find the 3 days hearing? Do you think it was favorable? Do you expect maybe a good outcome? What is your impression?
It's difficult to say, and obviously I can't comment on what I think the judge may or may not do. I have to wait for the decision, but it was well fought from both sides, and we'll have to wait to see the decision on that.
As right now, what is the development and what is the next step?
So right now we're not quite finished the application. The Crown has not finished its response to the argument, and then I get a reply to that, an argument. After that, the judge has to give a decision on the stay. If the judge stays the convictions, then that's the end for Mr. Barber. If the convictions, the finding of guilt are not stayed, then he has to have a sentencing, probably at the same time as Ms. Leach's sentencing in July.
Why is it unusual to see those kind of application after the fact that they are being found guilty?
Well, the Supreme Court has said that those type of applications have to be brought after the finding of guilt, so that's the normal process. But it's unusual as a motion because it's not often that someone will use as a defense that a person in authority, like a police officer or a judge or a state official, told them to do something erroneously. So it doesn't happen very often, so that's why it's rare.
After 3 days of hearing, what is your sentiment?
Oh, I think this portion here he'll lose on. I don't think there's any question. I don't think the judge is going to rule in his favor, but he at least got his story out so people can understand what was really going on, and he needs to be able to talk later on too. So let us know what's going on. Let the people know what's going on. So.
Well, I don't know. To me, it still seems like that the judge already has their decision already in mind, and they just draw this out. So, other than it's boring, is you can't even stay awake.
Do you have any hope after 2 days trial? Do you think we will see a good outcome?
Well, I only can hope. The only thing I really hope for is the judge herself, who has a good record as a judge, to be a fair judge that I've read in the past. A lot of her decisions have been good. I can only hope for the best in that way. I don't know about the Crown. I think the Crown will continue to try to do its worst to both these individuals who have, just stood, like as the judge said herself, their motives were good. So why would you persecute people with good motives when you have people that have terrible motives and yet they're rehabilitated and they're treated a lot better?
How did you react when you saw that one of the requests of the Crown is to seize Big Red, the truck that Chris used for going to the Freedom Convoy?
Can I say it in the way I really think it? Because over my dead body. That's what the Alberta and Saskatchewan people are saying. Big Red is not going to anywhere, so I'll stand behind that.
I think the Crown wanting to seize Big Red, which is Chris Barber's way of making a living, is mean-spirited. When you consider rehabilitation, part of it is being able to work for a living and contribute to society. So we spend all sorts of money on hardened criminals to get them to work again, yet they want to seize his livelihood, which he uses to support his family. Why would somebody want to do that? It's mean-spirited, and it shows you this entire thing is a persecution.
The truck's a way overreach. It's ridiculous that they even ask for the truck. I don't see how any judgment could ever. What the truck has to do with anything has nothing to do with it. There's already a precedence that from the Rolling Thunder event that a person got their truck seized and it was been released back to them, and I would assume that they were a lot more trouble than Chris ever was. Chris was working with police. Chris was trying to do everything in their power. We were, and no one wanted to be in residential areas and everything else. Nobody wanted to harm anybody in that kind of manner, and absolutely not. And the fact that we were trying to get all the trucks out of residential areas from the start, but we were barricaded from there was graders in the way, loaders and concrete blocks and everything, and so much foot traffic. You got 400,000 people. It's like standing room only practically. You can't move just vehicles that easily. The best time we tried moving was at nighttime when there was less people and everything else. It was the best times we were trying to move people. We tried everything in our power to try to keep it legal, and it just floors me that they continue to make it sound like we were the big bad apple. Meanwhile, Palestine's burning cars, or you the BLM protests, burning cars down on the ground, smashing windows, burning Walmarts to the ground, and you name it. and then we're just there, just honking horns. And then once the injunction came, then we were like, yeah, I admit it was loud. And as soon as we told them to stop, and everyone followed. It was actually pretty good. You got the odd person that probably honked here and there, but I mean, it's not like we're not running an army here which follow the entire the chain of command here. This is population. This is society. You can't control society as a civilian. You have no power. You have no authority to do it. All you got to do is try to coach them in the right direction and hope they actually do what you ask of them to do.
Were you there during the convoy, and what was your impression of the movement?
Well, we drove in day one. We left from Niagara with Harold and them originally. So we were here on the Friday morning, or not Friday afternoon, sorry. And we were here for the first weekend, and we came back for the third weekend, and we've been very active down in Niagara continually since that point.
At that time during the convoy, would you believe that we will be in this situation today where most of the public figure that was leading the convoy are now not only charged, some of them are being charged, some of them had their charge being removed, but 3.5 years later, they are still being prosecuting?
Well, during the convoy period, and I was here in Ottawa during that time, I live here, I didn't know what to think. I was afraid of what was happening in our country. I was fearful of the government and the authorities because this was unprecedented. And I was afraid of the Emergencies Act and actually anything that was going around and trying to establish it, what was my position. I have no idea what was going to happen, but I saw them lie. Actually, the MPs themselves, Public Safety Minister, Marco Mendicino, and all these other people, like actually lying to us and openly lying to us, and they're found guilty of that later. So it was hard to even understand what would happen. At that point, to me, it was just survival. I just wanted to survive and to get through this, and I was afraid.
It's not just Chris Barber who was found guilty of mischief. There is also Tamara Lich. She is currently being represented by TDF. So if you want to participate to her defense, go over helptamara.com and make a donation as you can.